among others. He followed an internal struggle and agreed with his philosophy that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Raila conquered fear and mastered courage. Possibility of death in pursuit of an ideal was not a reason for Raila to retreat, for he also internalized William Shakespeare's words that cowards die many times before their death, and the valiant never taste of death but once. It is from that patch that Raila began his own long walk for freedom and liberation, applying himself to the cause and the death that owed to past and due to the present generation. Many times, he appeared to be on a cause much larger than himself. A mission almost impossible, but seemed to be the way he loved it, and he gave his life to it. In emulating the giant footsteps of his father, and the spirit of selflessness that ran deep in his heritage, Raila Odinga, just as his father once declared that there could be no freedom without the release of their leader, Jomo Kenyatta, proclaimed Kibaki Tosha, a declaration that propelled NARC to bring an end to Kanu's 40-year rule. This defining act was emblematic of the man himself. Raila Odinga was Raila Odinga. He never cared what others thought about him or his actions. He cared whether people bought into his vision and mission. Once he felt he had the mandate of the people, there could be no turning back. In the process, he became Kenya's ultimate political prisoner and one of Africa's best-known freedom fighters. A dedicated and down-to-earth servant of alienated to the corrupt elite, and a beacon of hope for those struggling for freedom not only in Kenya but across Africa and beyond. Generations to come will honor him and offer gratitude. Raila Odinga cared deeply about and worried internally about his decline. For that, he applied himself to peace and rehabilitation missions across the continent whenever called upon. During the 1990s, he worked closely with the International Republican Institute as a facilitator for peace and conflict resolution in the war-torn countries of Mozambique and Burundi, and offered similar support to peaceful electoral processes in Nigeria and Zimbabwe. He mastered Africa's conflicts and the forces and issues behind him. The highest executive position he ever rose to was that of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. Following the signing of a National Accord and Reconciliation Act of 2008, which created the office to facilitate power sharing after the controversial 2007 elections. Earlier, he had served as a member of parliament for Langata constituency within the city of Nairobi from 1992. However, the hallmark of Raila's life and career was not in executive missions and offices. It was in the struggle for freedom and democracy in Kenya and across Africa. Many times, telling the continent's dictators to set their people free. It earned him outraged enemies, cynical friends and admirers in Africa and beyond. It is this record that saw him appointed as Special Peace Envoy of the African Union in February 2011, following the post-election crisis in Cote d'Ivoire. He juggled politics, entrepreneurship and scholarship with ease. Besides his career in politics, Mr. Oginga is also a successful businessman and entrepreneur, having founded the flagship family business, the East African Spectra, a manufacturer of gas cylinders for Kenya and the East African region. Subsequently, he founded Spectra International. Before that, he had taught at the University of Nairobi's Department